Well, as usual, Newcastle United are in the news again, and sometimes for the right reasons and sometimes for the wrong reasons, of course. Now, we did touch briefly on this last night on the live show regarding Sandro Tonali, so we'll take another look at what is going on with the Italian. Also, Fabian Schar has stated that he would like a new contract. Newcastle are chasing a Wonderkid from Brazil, and Bruno is amongst the world's best. So let's take a look at it all, guys, on the Daily News. Hi everybody, I'm Paul. Welcome back to the Toon Review YouTube channel and today's Daily News. There hasn't been a lot to bring you lately with regards to Newcastle United, of course, in the international break, so news has been pretty sparse. But of course, it broke last night regarding Sandro Tonali. But before we dive into that, if you can, please do hit the thumbs up if you do enjoy today's show. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. And also hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we schedule our live shows or we record anything like this. So thank you in advance for that, guys. So yeah, Sandro Tonali, news broke yesterday. He's been sent home from the Italian camp, of course, for accusations of some sort of betting scandal. Now, there hasn't been a great amount of detail announced about it. There has been interviews done with various players. There is an ongoing investigation in Italy with regards to the betting situation. Now, obviously, the club have been approached by many different media outlets and we still haven't heard from Newcastle United. I think that's wise. I think they want to get to the bottom of it before anything. It's pointless the club releasing anything before they've heard from whatever the investigation is over in Italy. Now, there was a lot of people on the live chat last night stating that, you know, this has gone on in Italy for a while. Are AC Milan aware of this before they sold Tonali to us? Were they pleased to get Tonali out the door, or was Tonali aware that something was going on and needed to get out of Italy? Who knows? It's all just pie in the sky at the minute until we find something concrete out from whatever the investigations are. The only thing's for certain at the moment is that Tonali is now back in Newcastle. He was sent home along with Zaniolo. And apparently there's up to 10 Italian players being looked at for betting irregularities at the moment over there. So what I would say is to Newcastle fans is, you know, we have to back our players. You know, we are fans of Newcastle United. Tonali is our player, and we don't know the ins and outs of this yet. I've seen a lot of abuse, as usual, aimed at Tonali, calling him this, calling him that, saying, "Oh, he's, you know, is that why he's played so badly for us? This is hanging over his head, etc., etc." You know what? We don't know, as I keep repeating, the ins and outs of this. But as a Newcastle United fan, we have to support our players until we know otherwise. If Tonali has done wrong, then it is his own fault. He has no one except himself to blame for the whole situation and why this has blown up. The players are fully aware of the betting rules, you know, and if they break them, you know, Ivan Toney, he's now sitting out half the season. He'll be frustrated as hell for making that mistake. And, you know, other players have done it in the past. Now, Italy has had its fair share of problems. We know that over the years with problems with irregularities with football clubs. Juventus being obviously the biggest one when they were relegated for their irregularities. So it does go on. But, you know, we haven't been we haven't felt the brunt of it yet as Newcastle United because we've never had any players you know, in trouble with this. You know, we had Keith Gillespie years ago who had an addiction which the club helped him deal with, and Gillespie is always thankful to Newcastle United for helping him through that bad period of his life. But this is different. This isn't an addiction. This is something else. And as I say, the authorities are looking at it. The investigations, they've made preliminary investigations, and it will go from there. Until we find something else out, then I would just suggest that we support Tonali. You know, Tonali might be, he might not have even been realised that he's involved in this, and, you know, things like that. So it's a worry that he's been sent home from the Italian camp. You can look at it both ways, as Alex stated on the show last night. You know, Italy may want him just out of there while the investigations are going on. And if he had stayed, then would that have looked bad on the Italians and saying, "Oh, you know, they've got these hanging over their heads," and etc., etc. Why are they still in the squad? So you have to be careful in these instances. It's just a shame, isn't it? Because everything has picked up for Newcastle United since the last international break. Everything's gone well. Results on the pitch, everything seems to be going well, apart from a couple of injuries here and there. And then, of course, a dark cloud arrives again, which it just seems like Newcastle United just attract these dark clouds, don't they? But hopefully, fingers crossed, there's nothing in it and Tonali is cleared. That's the best outcome. Obviously, if that's not the outcome, then we will deal with that when we come to it, I suppose. But for now, I think as Newcastle United fans, we have to support the player. He may be totally innocent in all of this, so it's our job to support him. And then, obviously, further down the line, if he has been silly, then he's only got himself to blame. But let me know in the comments below. Obviously, the club, at the time of recording this video, the club haven't said anything. Obviously, it's just media speculation from one outlet to another at the moment with regards to Tonali. But let me know what you think. Are you supporting the player at the moment until he's if he's cleared or he's found guilty? Let me know in the comments. What do you think of Tonali at the moment? Now, to say that Fabian Schar has been nothing short of brilliant for Newcastle United since Eddie Howe has come in is an understatement. He's been absolutely fantastic, and I think every Newcastle United fan absolutely loves Fabian Schar and what he's done for this football club. He was almost out the door. Of course, previous regimes didn't use him, said he couldn't play in a back four, blah, blah, blah. And there he is now playing alongside Botman as two of the best centre-backs for me, pound for pound in the Premier League. Best defensive records, for a long time for Newcastle United with these two centre-backs. Now, of course, before Botman came in, let's not forget what he did alongside Dan Burn. In that season where we escaped relegation and we finished 11th in Eddie Howe's when Eddie Howe first came in and saved us. So Fabian Schar, for me, 100% deserves a new contract. There is no doubt in my mind about it. Yes, he's getting on in years, but he is still at the peak of his game. He is playing really well. He is prone to the odd mistake, as every single footballer is on that pitch. But what he gives us is absolute determination, passion, and leading by example. He puts himself in harm's way all the time, if you like. Getting his head in where other defenders wouldn't put their heads in. The amount of injuries that this guy gets on a daily match basis is incredible. It really is incredible. And it's a credit to Fabian that he just gets on and gets on with it. Sometimes you think, God, he's injured, he's got to come off. And then he'll go and get treatment and he'll come back on. The guy is a Terminator, and he's been playing so well lately. Yep, poor against Brighton, as the rest of the team were. However, if you look at his performances since Eddie Howe walked in the door, he's been a revelation. And for £3.5 million, what would he be worth now, guys? But Fabian did say that Newcastle is my second home. The team, the coach, the club, I feel very comfortable, and I hope the journey continues. And we hope it does too, Fabian. I don't think there's any Newcastle United fan who wouldn't want Fabian Schar to sign a new contract. He is pivotal to what Eddie Howe needs this season. He's part of the spine of Newcastle United alongside Botman when he's fit. And I think it's a necessity that we get this guy an extension to his contract. He loves Newcastle. It's clear by what he said in his interview that he loves Newcastle. So please, Newcastle United, let's do all we can to keep Fabian Schar at the club. I don't think there would be a problem if Newcastle approached Schar for a new contract. The Schar would turn it down. He clearly wants to be here, and he wants to be part of the continued journey, not just of his own personal career, but of Newcastle United. There's no doubt that what Fabian can achieve at Newcastle United alongside his teammates. So let me know again in the comments, would you give Fabian Schar a new contract? Let me know. It's fair to say that over the years, Brazil has constantly churned out some wonderful, wonderful footballers. And it still does to this day. But what a lot of the youngsters now in Brazil want to do is they want to test their skills in other countries, especially in Europe. We've seen that. You've got Paqueta, you've got Bruno playing in Newcastle, of course. And these players are fantastic footballers. The league in Brazil, it's well supported. There's no doubt about that. They get some massive attendances. But you look at the amount of Brazilians now that are grown up and they want to test their skills in Europe, certainly in the big leagues, playing the Champions League, which is broadcast all over the world. They want to do that. And this guy is called Wesley Gasova, and he's an 18-year-old kid who plays for Corinthians. Now, he's already made 30 appearances for the senior side, and he's only 18. He is a left winger, I will say that. We've been A lot of comments on our transfer show last night were regarding left-sided players. Why are we continuing looking at left-sided players? But I reckon this guy, judging by the reports on him, he could play either side. We know Eddie likes his inverted wingers, so there'd be no problem for me with Kosova playing on the right-hand side. This kid is a talent. He's got a £100 million release clause. So that tells you how good he is, the fact that Corinthians have stuck that release clause on him. Now, the report also does state that Newcastle United wouldn't be prepared to meet the £100 million release clause. However, they can afford a very good transfer fee, which would be appealing to Corinthians as well. And we know, the Brazilian sides, they get a lot of money for these players. They bring them up, they nurture them, and then they do sell them on. That has been seen for decades now. So for me, Newcastle can go in with a good offer, and it's something that would attract Corinthians to a deal. They won't pay the release clause though, and 100 million quid on an 18-year-old, that just says to me everything you need to know about how good this kid is. Now, Newcastle have said they are prepared to send delegates to Brazil to try and get the deal done, whether they're in early negotiations, because of course the window's closed, any back-channeling conversations, which you probably get in football all the time, but we won't know. We won't know until January, or whether this is something that they're looking at in the summer. The report doesn't state that. It just says that Newcastle are one of the front runners. They're very keen, but they will face some very, very, very stiff opposition from the giants around Europe. And finally, we finish on our Brazilian superstar, Bruno. He has been voted as one of the top 20 best players in the world. This is a massive accolade for Bruno and for Newcastle United. It gets us recognised. There are some Premier League players in this top 20. Bruno has actually come in at 18th. So, to be in the top 20 of the world's best players is a massive honour. And it's a massive honour not just for Bruno, but for Newcastle United as well. Obviously his performances have been outstanding of late for Newcastle. It's a little bit of a slow start of the season, but we all said, we know that Bruno has got absolute class about him. He's a world-class player. There is no doubt in my mind that Bruno is a world-class player. And, the fact that he's getting selected now for Brazil, they can see the importance. But the way he's playing for us on the pitch, the last 4 or 5 games has been sensational. Absolutely sensational. Leading by example, winning tackles, getting brilliant passes, holding onto the ball, the old way he used to do it last season. He's not losing it, certainly like he was at the start of the season, but it's took him a few games to get going, but he's back to the Bruno we all know and love. And a lot of people say, well, he's had a baby, or his wife's pregnant again, or has this contract been hanging over him? That's all in the past now. The contract negotiations done and dusted. His contract is signed. That is a cloud lifted off everybody, not just the club, but Bruno himself. But the way the goal he scored against Sheffield United, the way he celebrated, saying "I'm effing staying," shouting at the crowd, says to me everything you need to know. And his passion for the club is there. Every time he makes a tackle, he's screaming at the crowd. And I think a lot of other players have taken that mantle on as well, just to get the crowd, keep them involved in the game. Don't let the crowd quieten down. Keep them involved, and that's exactly how you do it. A really good tackle, and then celebrating with the fans that you've made a good tackle, and it gets the crowd up. So it's brilliant for Bruno. It is brilliant for Bruno. It's another accolade for him. But you think across the world, right, the amount of footballers that are playing at the highest level, and Bruno's been voted in the top 20. So it's a fantastic accolade. I'm not sure who was number one, to be honest. I just read the report on Bruno. There is a couple of others. I think Salah's in there, Maddison's in there, and a couple of others, I think. So the Premier League is well represented within this top 20. But I think it's fantastic for Bruno. So let me know in the comments, where can Bruno go to next? I mean, not as in club, by the way. I mean, at a personal level. Can he get even better than he is already? Let me know. But there you go, guys. That is the latest news. As I say, nothing much more on Tonali this morning, but Newcastle are keeping stum for now, as I say, at the time of recording this video. But we will bring you all the latest news that we can when it is brought out, or Newcastle United decide to release a statement. If you are watching this on Friday, please do tune in at 7 o'clock tonight, where we have Face the Lads, which is our fan interaction show. You get the chance to come on and have a chat with the three of us. You don't need a camera. If you don't want to come on camera, you can just have your mic on. have a 5-6 minute chat with us about all things Newcastle United. The floor is open to you guys tonight. You pick the subjects and discuss them with the three of us. So really looking forward to that show, 7 p.m. tonight. But as usual, guys, if you have enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit the thumbs up for us. It is very important that we keep the likes coming in. Please do subscribe if you are new to the channel and you like what you see. Come and be part of an incredible community here on the Toon Review. And of course, hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we schedule our live shows, which are nearly every day during the week, certainly when the international break isn't on. And of course, we upload any videos such as this one. Keep voting for us in the Football Content Awards, guys. It is so important. We've got about a week to go with the voting before we don't find out until November who the winners are. So please keep hitting them votes. And also, if you do have younger children, grandchildren, or young nieces and nephews, please subscribe to Susan's new channel, Mrs. Toon Review. It's called the Little Helpers Hub. Sorry, it's not the Little Helpers, it's the Little Learners Hub, where she's putting videos on which will educate young kids about sea life and animals and alphabets, and it's a fabulous channel. She's uploading as many videos as she can, her time permits, but she would love the support. And if you guys out there could support her by going across and subscribing and getting your kids or grandkids, etc., involved in the channel, that would be fantastic. So thank you very much. The link to the Football Content Awards and Susan's channel are right at the top of the description. So please do her a big favour and get yourself subscribed to that as well. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back at 7 o'clock tonight. So hopefully you'll have a great Friday afternoon, and we'll see you then. Take care, guys.